Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Joy Learning TV.
Hello, my lovely business gurus. I am Theodosia Opong, and I'll be taking you through Business Management SHS 1 on the topic Forms of Business Organization. Welcome to SHSR. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to explain the concept of business organization. You will also be able to identify the different forms of business organizations. You will also be able to tell the various characteristics of each and every one of the various business organizations. Let's get rolling. Now, I want you to identify 5 businesses that you know of, that you have heard of, that you have seen in your community, that you have seen all around you. I will be helping you. You can take Joy FM as one of the businesses. Coca-Cola Company Limited, New Times Corporation, Kelfori Enterprise, TT Brothers Limited. Now, very shortly, you will understand why I gave the various kinds of examples from the various forms of business organizations that we are going to be looking at. Now, let's move on to look at the concept of business organization. In looking at the concept of business organization, we are looking at the idea behind business organizations. We want to understand what we mean by a business organization, and we want to help you identify what a business organization is. Now, in looking at that, we'll look at a business and then we'll look at an organization. So what is a business? Now, pay attention to the example you gave in your book, and let's look at it critically. I am sure one of your examples in your book would definitely be Joy FM. Now, what makes Joy FM a business? Any business or any entity that is referred to as a business first identifies a need or a problem and seeks to solve that problem or provide solutions for that problem. And they do all these things at a profit. So a business is any entity or any organization that identifies a need or a problem, seeks to solve it by providing goods and services at a profit. Now, what is an organization? An organization is an entity that is made up of a group of people with a common purpose. Together, we can easily mention what a business organization is. Now, what is a business organization? A business organization is an entity that provides or produces goods and services with the aim to satisfy human needs and wants at a profit. Emphasis on an entity. An entity being a body or an organized group of people that have a common goal of providing goods and services. Remember, we said to satisfy a need or a want at a profit. By that, you have identified a business organization. So, back to our examples. Is Coca-Cola Company Limited a business organization? Yes, because it is an entity. 2, because it provides soft drinks for us. And what does it satisfy? It satisfies our thirst for our enjoyment. That makes it a business organization. Now, I am sure in your examples, you mentioned a lot of examples of businesses, but I am sure that you may assume that they may all be the same kind of business. Now, I am here to help you identify various forms of business organization. And yes, there are various forms of business organizations. A lot of the times we refer to all of them as companies, but they are all not companies. I'm going to help you identify the various forms of business organizations, and then you would be able to differentiate them and identify their characteristics. Now, when you take the forms of business organizations, we have 5 general forms of business organizations. Now, when you come out of your house and you see the wache seller who has set up her wache and is selling to you, you have definitely met a sole proprietor. Now, when you meet 2 people who have decided to come together and provide goods and services for their customers to satisfy their needs and wants, what you are seeing is a partnership. Then, when you have 2 or more people, so a minimum of 2 and a maximum of infinity, who are coming together as a joint stock, hoping to provide goods and services to people at a profit, and because they have shareholders, we refer to them as a company. Then, when you find a business where the government is the one involved in the business, and their main aim is to provide goods and services to satisfy the needs and wants of their citizens, then you are seeing a public corporation. Then when you find an association of 2 or more people who are coming together for their common goal or for their common good, then you are seeing a cooperative society. These 5 are the different forms of business organizations that you can find. I'm going to take you through each and every one of them. For each and every one of them, we are going to look at the characteristics, we'll look at the advantages and disadvantages, we'll look at the procedure for registering the businesses, and then we will try to distinguish between them so that you can easily identify each and every one of them. I hope you're still with me. We are going to start with sole proprietorship. Now, what is a sole proprietorship? I told you that when you come out of your house and you see a watcher seller, you have definitely seen a sole proprietorship. I'm sure you will start identifying so many sole proprietorships in your community, in your business. One of the sure ways to identify a sole proprietorship can be from their names. You would find Kwefori Enterprise, you find Yamansa Shop, you find Auntie Mansa Kiosk, Blue Kiosk. All these ones are sole proprietorship businesses. Now, why do we call them sole proprietorship businesses? Any form of business organization which is owned, managed, and controlled by the sole owner is a sole proprietorship business. So the key thing there is that for a sole proprietorship, it must be just one person who owns it, manages it, controls it. And we are saying that all these is by an individual owner, or a single person owns it, manages it, and controls it. You usually refer to it as one-man business. And it is the most commonest form of business organization that you can find around in your community, and even in West Africa. Getting to the tail end of it, I'll explain to you why it is so dominant and why it is the most commonest form. Let's move along and try to identify the features that makes us say that Auntie Muni's Wache is a sole proprietorship business. Now, first, we'll look at the ownership. I've mentioned earlier that it is owned by one person known as the sole owner. Management and control is also by the sole owner, one person. The source of capital is also provided by the sole owner alone. That is one key important characteristic that you should note. The capital is provided by the sole owner. How does the sole proprietor provide for this capital? It can be from his savings, it can be from friends and borrowing from friends and family, and it can also be from his inheritance. But when all the capital is provided by the sole owner, it is a sole proprietorship. Now, when it comes to profit sharing, all profits are enjoyed by the sole owner. Of course, because he provides all the capital alone. And definitely, if he's enjoying all the profits alone, then he's also going to bear all the risk alone. So we say that with sole proprietorship, the sole owner always has unlimited liability. Note that, unlimited liability. What does this mean? It means that when there are risks and when there are losses, the sole owner will bear all the risk to the extent that his personal property can also be sold to defray every debt or liability that he finds himself in. I hope you have noted all the characteristics of a sole proprietorship business. Now, going back to the examples you gave from the beginning, try and identify which of your examples are sole proprietorship businesses. Now, would you want to set up a sole proprietorship business? Start thinking about that. There are so many sole proprietorship businesses for various reasons. Now, let's look at the benefits of running a sole proprietorship business or the advantages of sole proprietorship businesses. Now, it is very easy to diversify your business if you are running a sole proprietorship. Why? You wake up today and you realize that the market is not good for the waakye. You can decide to switch to rice, plain rice, and sell it. That is why we say it is easy to diversify. In other words, it is easy to change from one type of business to the other. Another advantage of the sole proprietorship business is that you need very low capital to start your business. You don't need a lot of money to start your business. If you follow a lot of sole proprietorship businesses, their sole owners will tell you how much they spend. And a lot of them spend very low, and some as little as 1 Ghana cedi. So for sole proprietorship business, the benefit is that you can start with very low capital and build on as you move on. Another benefit is that you enjoy all the profits alone. And then another benefit with sole proprietorship businesses is that there is easy formation of the business. Every business needs to register with the Registrar General's Department. We'll be looking at that shortly. And that is where our formation comes in. When we are forming a business, we need to go through a procedure to form the business. Now, when you compare to other forms of business organization, sole proprietorship is very, very easy to form. And that is one of the benefits. The last and not the least advantage of the sole proprietorship business is that there is very quick decision making because it is just the sole owner who manages and controls the business. So he decides whatever he wants to do. Even while in bed, he can decide what to do. The moment he wakes up, he does not need to consult anybody. And so it makes decision making very fast and quick. Now, these are the benefits. I'm sure you are deciding and thinking about going into a sole proprietorship business. But hold on a bit and consider some of the disadvantages that comes with sole proprietorship business. In as much as their capital is low in starting the business, for their plants and their businesses, there is inadequate capital, especially when they want to expand the business. For the sole owner providing all the capital, it can be quite difficult being able to get capital from other sources. It is sometimes difficult for sole owners or sole proprietors to get capital from banks and from other institutions. And so we say that one of the disadvantages is that they usually have inadequate capital when they want to expand the business. Another disadvantage is that your liability is unlimited. It means that when they have paid off all your debts and liabilities, and there are still more liabilities and debts, your personal assets will be sold off and used to pay off the debts. In cases of disability, retirement, and sickness, or even death, there is a high possibility that a sole proprietorship will not be able to continue in business. Now, these are the disadvantages that you need to consider when you are setting up a sole proprietorship business. So in setting up your business, consider the benefits and consider the disadvantages as well. Now, I'll take you through the procedure that you need to be able to set up a sole proprietorship business. What do we need to do? One thing we need to note is that every business in Ghana is registered with the Registrar General's Department. Every business, no matter the form of business organization, is supposed to be registered with the Registrar General's Department. Now, for sole proprietorship businesses, what we do is to register the business name. So we use the Registration of Business Names Act 1962 is the law or the act that is used to register sole proprietorship businesses. Now, what do you need to do? You can download or go to the website of the Registrar General's Department and download a sole proprietorship application form, or walk into the offices of the Registrar General's Department and pick a form, fill out the form, And you need to note that you will have to provide certain details on the application form, such as your name, such as the location of your business, such as the principal business place, such as the nature of the business, and a few others. Now you provide these details, and then you must have a tax identification number for a sole proprietor. So if you don't have a tax identification number, then you will also have to fill out a tax identification number form, and then it will be given to you. Now, when you have your tax identification number and you have filled out your application forms, because you will need a tax identification number to fill out the form, when you have done that, you pay the appropriate registration fees at the Registrar General's department. Don't think too much. You need to pay some fees to be able to get registered. Now, when you have submitted your application form and you have paid the appropriate fees, then you are given the certificate of registration. Now, I'll take some time to talk to you about the certificate of registration. Now, the certificate of registration is the document that is given to the sole proprietor as a proof or evidence that your business has been registered. Remember, I said that your business must be registered to be able to get the legitimate existence in the country. Now, this certificate of registration must be placed openly in your business as proof that your business is legalized. This registration must also be renewed annually. Every year, you must renew your registration with the Registrar General's department. Failure to do that can cause you to lose the business name. Remember that we registered the business name. Now, this is the procedure for registering a business. Very simple, very short. Remember, we said that the formation of a sole proprietorship is very easy and not difficult at all. I hope you have enjoyed today's lesson with the sole proprietorship form of business organization and also getting to know the whole concept of business organization. I want you to try out these questions. Now, first in your books, define business organization. Good. I am sure that you have gotten all the key points in defining a business organization. The next thing I want you to do is to tell me what a sole proprietorship business is. Remember, we have spent a lot of time on it, but I want to know if you can identify a sole proprietorship business. So your second trial question is, what is sole proprietorship business? Then I want you to outline 3 reasons why sole proprietorship businesses is dominant in West Africa. Now together, let's take a quick recap of what we have learned today by trying to answer our trial questions. First, we ask, define business organization. Now remember that we said a business organization is an entity that produces or provides goods and services with the aim of satisfying our needs and wants, or the needs and wants of consumers at a profit. That is a business organization. I know you got it correct. Well done. Then I am asking you to tell me what a sole proprietorship business is. Let's mark your work together. Now we are saying that a sole proprietorship business is a form of business organization which is owned, managed, and controlled by the sole owner. We also mentioned that it is also referred to as the one-man business, and it is the most commonest form of business organizations. I'm sure you may have added a few others to the definition of sole proprietorship because of the characteristics. You are still on point and you are correct if you did that. But let's take a look at what you mentioned as the characteristics. We said it is owned by one person, it is managed and controlled by one person, the capital is provided by one person, and then we said that he enjoys all the profits alone and bears all the risk alone with unlimited liability. Now, marking your work, I hope that you got sole proprietorship right and you'll be able to identify all the sole proprietorship business that are around you. Now, the last question is, why is sole proprietorship so dominant in West Africa? Now, coming to this question, I'm curious to know what your answers are. I'll guide you through to check if your answers are correct. Why is sole proprietorship so dominant in West Africa? It would take us to some of the benefits of sole proprietorship businesses. Do you remember the advantages of sole proprietorship business? Now, here we go. One of the reasons is because there is easy formation of the business. Now, how does that relate to West Africa? And how does that make sole proprietorship dominant in West Africa? That is because we can acknowledge that the illiteracy rates and the people who set up sole proprietorship businesses may not be able to go through the procedure for setting up a business. In fact, as we move along and look at the other forms of business organization, you realize that it can be discouraging when you are setting other forms of business organizations. But with sole proprietorship, taking you through the procedure, you know it's very simple and easy. That is one of the reasons why sole proprietorships are dominant in West Africa. Another reason is because very low capital is needed. A lot of people in West Africa fall within the middle income sector or the middle income workers, and they have very low income, not to talk of capital to even be able to start their own businesses. And so the easy way out is setting up a sole proprietorship business because it requires very low capital. Now, the other reason is because the owner enjoys all profits. Let me keep you wondering why it is dominant in West Africa and related to that advantage. Another reason is also because it is easy to diversify your business. When you cannot move on with a particular kind of business, then you can easily switch or change to another type of business. Very good. I'm glad you scored all the points with the trial questions by answering them very well. Now we will be continuing with the next form of business organization. Now, Paul's masonry firm that was registered as a sole proprietorship needs expansion because he has gotten a huge project. In trying to get his capital for this huge project, he needs help. He needs more capital. How does Paul go about this? The next form of business organization will help us to help Paul to be able to continue with his business. And so I introduce you to partnership. Now, partnership is an association of 2 or more people, not beyond 20 people, who have agreed to provide or produce goods and services to satisfy consumer goods and wants at a profit. Take note of the keywords here. It is an association of 2 or more people, not beyond 20 people, who have agreed to provide or produce goods and services to satisfy consumer needs and wants at a profit. So, with a partnership form of business organization, Paul can get Kwame Menu, who is a quantity surveyor, to join him in the business. The 2 of them will become what we call partners. They can also get another person to join in still to form the partnership until they are up to 20 people. That is a partnership form of business organization. Now, with partnerships, for you to identify partnerships, a lot of the times you can use their names to also try and identify them. Going back to the examples that we gave of businesses, the first thing that we did in this lesson, try and identify the businesses that you have written and look at the names and check if they tally with these names. I gave an example of TT Brothers Limited. TT Brothers. Apart from TT Brothers, you will hear some names as Adjoa and Sons, Kofi and Daughters. Now, the end there is a signal to show you that this is a partnership firm. Of course, you will notice that some of the partnership firms, you would find limited there. I would explain very shortly why you find limited there, or and co-limited. Now, who are partners? Partners are individuals who have entered into an agreement with one another for a business. Remember, we said it's an association of two or more partners. So when Yao Paul and Kwame Menu come together to form a partnership, we refer to them as partners because they are individuals who have entered into an agreement with one another for a business. Now, there are different types of partners which we are going to look at. We have the general or the active partners, the sleeping or dormant partners, and the nominal or quasi partners. Who are general or active partners? Now, still using the example of Yao Paul and Kwame Menu. Yao Paul started this business as a sole proprietorship, and because he wanted to expand it, he invited Kwame Menu to join in the business. Now, Yao Paul had already provided a lot of the resources that is needed for the business. Kwame Menu only joined in to add a little more capital for the business to be able to run, and especially for the huge projects that they are running. Now, in this scenario, the one who provided all the resources and it's indulged in the day-to-day activities of the business, he is also involved in the management of the business. He contributes a greater part of the capital, and a greater part of the profit will be enjoyed by this partner. Now, this partner is referred to as the general partner or the active partner. Take note of the word active partner. And always remember that when you want to identify the general partner. The general partner is the one who is always actively involved in the day-to-day running of the business and also the management of the business. Active partners are usually the ones who contribute a greater part of the capital and, of course, enjoy a greater part of the profit. They definitely are the ones who have unlimited liability because of all these other characteristics that they have. In bearing a greater part of the loss, it means that apart from their capital contribution that they will lose in times of liabilities, they will also lose their personal properties, which will be sold and used to take care of the liabilities. That is a general partner. Now, who is the sleeping partner? Obviously, I'm sure when you take the word sleeping partner, you can give a guess as to who a sleeping partner is. A sleeping partner only contributes capital for the business and goes to sleep, if I could say it that way. He is a dormant partner. Why? Because he is not actively involved in the day-to-day running of the business. His liability is limited because he is not actively involved in the day-to-day running of the business. He will only lose his capital contribution should there be any liabilities. That is the sleeping partner. Then we have the nominal partner. I'll take you back into your French classes in JHS. take a careful look at the word nominal partner, and you will notice a word there which relates to French, nom, and that is name. And that is what the nominal partner actually is. The nominal partner allows the business to use his name as a partner to the firm or to the partnership business. Allowing his name to be used does not guarantee profit or losses for him because he does not contribute any capital to the business. And so, nominal partners usually are people whose names come with prestige, people who we refer to now as celebrities. So start thinking of the partnership business you want to form and write down the celebrity who is going to be the nominal partner for your business. I don't want to imagine the names that you'll be putting down, but I'll be telling you who my nominal partner will also be. But remember, the nominal partners are those or partners who allow their names to be used with the business but are not actively involved in the business and do not contribute capital to the business. For some businesses, they can give a small token to the nominal partner when profits are declared. Otherwise, they do not enjoy profit or losses. But we need to be quick to note that should there be any issues with the partnership firm, their names will also be dragged along. These are the types of partners. It is to help you to note that when you know a partnership business, you know that there will definitely be types of partners in there. But there can be situations where we'll have only general partners in a business. Such a partnership business is referred to as a general partnership. That will take us to what we refer to as the types of partnership businesses. Now, there are two main types of partnership businesses, and we'll be looking at each of them. We have the general partnership. I hope you can remember the types of partners. Remember, we said there are general partners, and here we have general partnership. Does it ring a bell somewhere? Can you hazard a guess the types of partners we'll have in this partnership firm? You are right. We have active partners and general partners only in general partnership businesses. Always remember the word general. Now then, what is a general partnership? A general partnership is the most basic form of partnership businesses that you can have. And because we have active partners only in this business, they always have an unlimited liability. The partners in this business have unlimited liability because they have an equal liability for the debts and losses of the business. Now, their equal liability of the debts and losses of the business is because of their capital contribution. Their profit is also shared according to their capital contribution, or we can say, we can put it in the form of a ratio and know that they are shared according to the ratio of their capital contribution. So if Yao Paul contributed 10,000 Ghana cedis and Kwame Menu's contribution is up to 5,000 Ghana cedis, and we add Yamansa to it with 2,000 Ghana cedis, I'm sure you can come up with a ratio of 10:5:2. If we make 100% profit, we are going to share it in the same ratio. The same ratio for each and every one of the partners. So with a general partnership, we say that this is a partnership where we have all their partners with equal liability for the debts and losses of the business, and they also are made up of active or general partners only. One thing you should also note is that they have mutual powers and responsibilities because they are actively, or they are all actively involved in the day-to-day running of the business or the management of the business. That is a general partnership. Now, the second and the last type of partnership for the purpose of our study is the limited partnership. Now, listening to my earlier explanation with general partnership, I'm sure you are having an idea of what the limited partnership is. Remember, I said the general partnership has unlimited liability. And so hearing the word limited partnership here, you are getting it right. Yes, the limited partnership is a partnership form of business, or is a partnership business that has active partners, but more importantly, has the presence of at least one dormant or sleeping partner. Remember, we said the sleeping or dormant partner has limited liability, and that is where we get the limited partnership from. Now, there will be a presence of at least one active partner who will be responsible for the day-to-day running of the business or the management of the business. And there will also be the presence of dormant partners, one or more, who only contributes the capital and will not be involved in the day-to-day activities and management of the firm. Now, can you tell me, in case of any liabilities, what will be the liability of the sleeping partner in a limited partnership? Yes, you are right. Their liability is going to be limited. Why? Because they are not actively involved in the day-to-day running of the business. Their liability will only be limited to the amount of capital that they contributed to the business. This is a limited partnership. Can you try and differentiate between the general partnership and the limited partnership? Based on our lessons, we will take a recap. But before we take a recap, you need to try your hands on these questions. Now, for me to know if you can easily identify a partnership business, define a partnership form of business organization. Then, differentiate between a general partner and a sleeping partner. And then you can add to it by differentiating between a general partner and a nominal partner. And also try and differentiate between a sleeping partner and a nominal partner. Finally, try and distinguish between the types of partnership. Okay, now let's go through the trial questions as we take a recap of what we have studied on partnership. Now, I asked you to define partnership. Let's see if your answer corresponds to what a partnership is. A partnership, we said, is an association of 2 or more people, maximum 20 people, who have agreed to provide or produce goods and services to satisfy consumer needs and wants at a profit. The emphasis with partnership is that it is an association of 2 or more people, and it is an agreement between these 2 people who we refer to as partners. That is a partnership. Now let's distinguish between the types of partners. We said the types of partners are general partners, sleeping partners, and nominal partners. Now, how do you distinguish between general partners and sleeping partners? We said a general partner is actively involved in the day-to-day running of the business, whereas a sleeping partner only contributes capital and is not actively involved in the day-to-day running of the business. I know you are excited because you got it right. Now let's try and distinguish between a general partner and a nominal partner. A general partner is one who is actively involved in the day-to-day running of the business and the management of the firm, and also contributes a greater part of the capital, enjoys profits and losses. But a nominal partner does not contribute capital, but only allows his name to be used as part of the partnership business, and he does not enjoy profits, neither does he bear any loss. Can we try to distinguish between the sleeping partner and the nominal partner as well? Let's look at how you answered it and mark it to check if you are right. Now, a sleeping partner is not actively involved in the day-to-day running of the business, but they contribute capital and enjoy profits according to their capital contribution and have limited liability. But the nominal partner does not contribute capital and does not enjoy any profits, neither does he bear any losses. Now, mark your work and assess if you have distinguished between the types of partners correctly. Now, the last one is to ask you to distinguish between the types of partnership. Let me guide you to mark your work. We said there are two types of partnership, which is the general partnership and the limited partnership. Let's distinguish between the two. The general partnership is a partnership form of business organization which has the presence of only active partners who contribute capital and are actively involved in the day-to-day running of the business and also bear unlimited liability. The limited partnership is a partnership form of business organization that has the presence of at least one dormant or sleeping partner to make it a limited partnership. Why? Because their liability is limited. There will be a presence of an active partner, but the active partner is usually the one who will be in charge of running the business and managing the business. But the sleeping partners in the limited partnership are the ones who only contribute capital and allow the active partner to run the business. Now, having answered these questions correctly, we will try and come out with the characteristics of a partnership business. Now, what are the characteristics of a partnership business? In your community, can you identify any partnership form of business organization? I'm sure you're really scratching your head because our partnership businesses are not too obvious to note and not too common, but they are very dominant in certain professions. You will usually find partnership forms of business organizations in law firms, in construction firms. You usually find them in law firms, in construction firms, amongst others. So in law firms, how do they run a partnership form of business organization? You can find different types of lawyers coming together to form a partnership business as a law firm. And then at any point in time, when they need a particular kind of lawyer, depending on the type of lawyer he or she is, the person will stand in for the business. If you If you get to the construction area, you can have quantity surveyors, you can have the masons, you can have the plumbers, you can have electricians coming together to form a partnership form of business. And so, for your assignment, you would try and identify the different types of partnership businesses that are in your community, in your society, or that you know of. I know you will try and then Google to check some of the partnership forms of businesses that we have. Try and identify a few that we have in Ghana. I am sure that you have understood the lessons that we have gone through today. I have been your business management tutor for the lesson, and remember that I am Theodosia Opong. Until I meet you another time for our next lesson, have a good week. Thank you.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Joy Learning TV.